Hi guys, I'm going to show you how you're going to sew a simple V-neck on the Nicolette pattern. So you're going to get the measurements to cut this big long rectangle from the cut chart in the pattern instructions. You're going to meet the short ends together, lay it flat, make sure it's straight. We are then going to mark 1 inch into the center. I'm going to line it up on my cutting mat here, and I'm going to find the center at 1 inch, and it's about right here. So what I'm going to do is put a pin there. This doesn't need to be super perfect. It just needs to be a marker so that you kind of know where to aim so that it lays nicely. So you're at the edge. Start at the corner. You're going to go in a couple of stitches before you do any back stitches so that you don't have trouble. Go to the center, pick up your presser foot. You're going to pivot, and then you're going to finish this out, locking your stitches on both ends and then cutting. What you're left with is this. What you're going to do now is take your scissors and trim this down. And remove that pin. At this point, you're going to open this up. You can press those seam allowances flat on the inside if it helps the bulk of your neckband. This is a pretty thin fabric, so it doesn't make too much of a difference for me. Now you're going to flip it out and you're going to meet your long ends together. At this point, you're going to take your iron. See there, you can see your V. You're going to take your iron and you're going to press your band in half. And this is just going to be for simplicity's sake. It will help it hold its shape and stay where you want it to as you are sewing this neckband onto your bodice. Okay, so now I have pressed my neckband. It's nice and crisp. What we want to do next is to put a basting stitch kind of close to the edge, just at the bottom of the V. This is going to hold it in place while we sew it to the neckband as well. You don't want to lock your stitches at the front or finish of this because you're going to want to pull these out. These are not going to be permanent stitches. So I'm just going to lay it where it's comfortable, where you're not going to run off the edge, but close enough to the edge that it will hold the edge together for you. Pivot at the bottom of the V. And then just remove it. So I didn't lock my stitches at the beginning or the end. This stitch is simply meant to hold it in place. So you see. Now I'm going to take my front bodice, and in the tutorial you will be further along than this. You will probably have the sleeves attached and all the rest. But really you can do the neckband at any point in this process, so long as your shoulder seams are finished. So to begin, you want to kind of match up the line in your V with the point at the bottom of your V. It helps to make a teensy tiny little right there at the bottom of the V, but whatever you do, do not go too far in. You're going to take your neckband, you're going to decide which side you want to show. I prefer the solid option just because in a stripe it's much easier to show imperfections when that stripe moves around. So pick the solid side if you can. You're going to line it up with the raw edges together and the very tip of that seam of your V kind of touching that clip you made in the bodice, the neckline. So line that edge up, starting with the right hand side of your neckline, your left. You're going to pin this bottom of your V to hit right at the base of your neckline. So there, that's pinned. And you're going to pivot so that that pin is going to come out as you sew. So line up your raw edges together, your V, the bottom of it. So pop this into your sewing machine using your 3/8 seam allowance. You've got your neckband and your bodice right sides together, and you are going to lock your stitches this time. You can do another kind of base stitch until you get all the way around and then go over it with a serger if you have it. Sometimes people like to do that. It just kind of gives you another chance to correct any issues. So now we're getting close to our pivot point. So I'm going to pull out my pin and make sure that I'm just sewing through this one of fabric. You're going to stop right at that seam. Right at that seam. And then you're going to pivot your neckband and all that fabric. Make sure that you're not getting any folds being sewn under this neckband. Looks good. Continue up that, and we're going to lock our stitches here. Let's orient this so that our shoulder is here, and you can fold over your neckband. You might get a little pinching in the bottom of your V, your seam might be a little off. It's not the end of the world, it just takes some practice to get that down right. But you'll see your base stitch shows a little bit. My seam is just a little bit off. It's not going to harm anything. The one thing that I forgot to mention was that when you were sewing on this bottom of the V, for those just a few inches on each side, you do not stretch it. Don't stretch it. It will make your bottom of your top just look really kind of puckered. So you're at that point. The bottom's attached. The rest of your neckband is not. At this point, you're going to fold your neckband in half, and you're going to locate the back side, and you are going to mark that with a pin. Okay? Then you're going to find the back of your neckline on the back bodice, the center. It's about right here. It's not a perfect science. You're going to want to flip your neckband over, and you're going to find where you marked that on your neckband. Flip your neckline over, mark it with the neckband. Line up your neckband to the back center of your neckline. You are going to pin that in place. What this does is make it easy to then quarter your band so that you get perfect even stretch all the way around. And you'll stretch and you'll see my band is kind of folding a little bit. That's okay. Just stretch it. Pick a spot where you see that the neckline is matching up with your band. Unroll the edge of that neckband like so and pin it there. And then find the next quarter point. Do the same. Do it all the way around until it's evenly stretched. And you know that it's not going to pucker in one area because it got stretched too much in one area and not stretched enough in another. I've got one side done. Now I'm going to stretch to fit the other side. Once you have this pinned, you're going to continue that stitch from where you just completed it at the bottom of your V. You're going to finish this stitch all the way around your neckline. And while you're stitching, you want to make sure that you're stretching your band, but not your bodice or your neckline on your bodice, because doing that will cause puckering. Okay, so now I've found the inside. You can see where I've stitched across the bottom of the V, and then we've stopped here. You can start here and go, or you can choose the other side. I choose the other side because then I can kind of see what I'm doing and how far in I'm stitching with the seam allowance. And if any of this is just like not clear and you're still confused, please do not hesitate to ask Jessica or I. We love to help. We love to help you have success. So as you're stitching, just make sure that your raw edges are matching up. You are going to go all the way around this neckband, stretching just to fit, no more. Okay, so you've finished stitching on your neckband and you have pressed it with a steaming iron, and it looks pretty good. If you want to take it a step further and you have a serger, it's always good to serge the raw edges just to give it a cleaner finish. If not, no worries. You can also take a straight stitch or a cover stitch all the way around the edge of your neckline, just right below the seam, just to give it a top stitched finish. If you are just so done with this neckband that you don't want to, don't worry about it. So what you have left are those baste stitches sticking up, the ones that we put there to hold it in place. So you're going to take your seam ripper and you're just going to carefully pick those out. Your neckline is done. And I think in the tutorial at this point all you would have left to do is hem the sleeves and the bottom of your topper dress. So those are pulled out. Trim off any stragglers on the back side. You're good to go. There you have it. Easy V-neck. Not that hard. Just takes a little bit of practice to get the stretch right and to get your neckbands to finish at a nice even width. But that is all about lining up those raw edges and keeping your stitch straight under the foot.